Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Oh, we're doing it. Oh, yeah. We are. Da, 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 da. Sound is great. Sound is great. Sound's coming through. Gonna pin that one to the profile. Pin that one there and there and there. There we go. Russia has a quarter amount of money in its treasury. CNN is reportedly boasted by the record 37 billion in crude oil sales to India last year, 14 times more than in 2022. Wowzers. What is that? Oh, Bahrain. Bahrain. We're just going to be stalling a bit here before we decide to go live. Because, oh, sorry, not live, but before we start saying stuff. Because that's what a real person does. What's up in the sky? Let's check out anything up in the sky. Oh, hello. We got a P3 from Canada. Airbus. Yeah, nothing really massively interesting here. We got Boeing RC 135. 135. We got a Boeing RC 135 in the air, mate. Yeah. C5 Galaxies. There's a lot of C5 Galaxies. Oh, look at that. What's that? Is that Air Force One? Or is that an EB4? That's an E4B or whatever they call. Yeah, Doomsday plane. There's a Doomsday plane flying just outside the Mexican border. Take a look at that. Keep an eye on that. Is there any more of them? That's interesting. I've never seen it fly there before, particularly. That's sort of interesting, isn't it? So amazingly interesting. I just can't imagine what you guys are feeling right now. I mean, with the excitement of this exciting discovery. My internet is like bad today, so I might be lagging a bit. RC 135W. God damn, my phone is just slow today. No, nothing really there. We still got that. Yeah. There you go. EB4, E4B. Down just at the Texan border. Or sorry, not Texan border. The Mexican border is what I meant to say. Interesting. Interesting. It certainly is. Certainly is interesting in some ways what they're doing. Nothing massively serious, obviously. Let's take a look at Deep State here for you guys for a second here. Well, it takes about 10 minutes for you to send out a notification. It won't start before YouTube sends out this notification of primary ownership. Okay, there we go. Any changes to the battlefield down here? Nothing really. Small push here from the Russians as they continue to attack on all 5 fronts here. And a small push towards the next city. It appears that the Russians are taking more and more cities as the day goes on. Down here as well, nothing really. There's been a push from the Russians there. It's kind of turned into a little bit of a stalemate, but there has been what appears to be now smaller pushes by the Russians and nothing in the other direction. So, not anything in particular at the moment we can report as to say, oh yeah, that is going on. I can't tell you anything right now at the current moment that would interest you. But here we have it. There's a tanker over here. It's been doing some. There's an E3, by the way. E3 over not only Germany, but it's been flying over Poland and Germany. That's a long mission. Look at that. We got Lithuanian border planes or whatever that is. That's definitely some kind of surveillance plane there, but it's been took off from Poland. It's probably heading back home now. Not a lot of stuff here. A lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff not happening. Nothing in Asia here. Appears to be completely empty at the moment, except the Falcon 7X. But there's also this one, apparently. The Bahrainian military. It's a multi-role propeller plane right there. Ooh, is that another one? All right, we got two Doomsday planes up over USA. Two Doomsday planes up at the same time right now. It's been a while since I've seen the Doomsday planes up. I'm serious. It's been a good long while. What is next here? Oh, we got, look at that. Look what we got. The NC, we got the RC, we got the RC 135, and the NC, which is the NC is I believe used for NASA actually. I don't know, but yeah, we got some Doomsday plane action here. It does appear this one might be landing soon. It's certainly decelerating right now, or it certainly appears to be going down in its altitude. This one right over here is still up. Look at that. We got a fucking bunch of river joints alongside a Doomsday plane. Not a river joint. Not an E6. That's a nuke plane. It's a nuke sniffer. Or the nuke plane sniffer, sniffer. Oh no, that's not the nuke sniffer. That's the other one, right? Is it? Yeah. Oh, look at that. Another E6 doing rounds along the border here. Look at that. That right there is something. That right there is actually something. Look at that. There's an E6. Oh. Oh, yeah. Now there's a Boeing 757-200 landing in Washington. That's something there. What is the E6 doing roundabout along the coast here? The U.S. A lot of stuff happening there. I reckon we're about there. All right, let's get started. Senior U.S. officials have reportedly told allies that Russia could successfully deploy their space-based anti-satellite nuclear weapon, which is what it's called, or a mock of the version by the end of 2024. So they're saying that by the end of 2024, Russia would either launch their so-called anti-satellite nuclear satellite weapon or whatever, or a mock thereof system. So just propaganda, basically. Chances of them actually being able to do it. It's, I mean, I couldn't tell you. I mean, the capabilities of Russia obviously has surprised many of us. I mean, you know, just pure production power has, but the manpower still is the worst I've ever seen. You know, despite the fact that you think to yourself, oh, the Russians are doing good right now. If there's a sudden change in U.S. policy, if there is a sudden change in U.S. policy, whoever wins, which at the moment it still looks like it might be Trump, but if Biden or Haley, which is somewhat unlikely, right? If any of those two wins, the support for Ukraine could continue. And Mike Johnson, who has the award of the year for being the most incompetent person I've ever seen in my life, basically a Russian supporter, I mean, there's no reason for him to continue to block these aid funds. But he continues to do it. But yeah. Anyways, U.S. promises major sanction package on Russia in response to death of opposition leader Alexei Navalny. So, Alexei obviously is dead. His wife's account on Twitter got previously banned today. Do I know why? Probably. I imagine there might have been a bunch of Russian bots, which is usually the story, that reported her account. And then if Twitter receives enough accounts from a lot of different sources claiming the same thing or different things, there could be a reason for suspension until further notice, which is weird because, I mean, the fact of her saying that she actually became, or the fact of her saying that she's misinformation was ridiculous. And she's in Europe right away, advocating, her husband's death has probably brought some new wind to her campaign. The next leader of Russia should be her, right? Spies from Russia has become even more dangerous and have returned to Europe. So there was a flock of migrants that came into obviously Europe after the war started. A lot of those guys were scientists, a lot of those guys were smart people, and the chances of Russia exploiting that opportunity of mass migration from their country to exploit the opportunity of slipping in a spy or two is probably very likely. We know that they have a special hub in Switzerland, because Switzerland is neutral when it comes to pretty much anything, so they just let anyone do anything in their country as long as it doesn't bother them, which is a weird but functional policy, I guess. And yeah, so it really is certainly something to be looking out for there. Yep. All right. No, but I mean the danger of them, of course, is the factor that they are creating propaganda campaigns in Western countries where they are spreading misinformation around, which is something we've seen before. I mean, they're spreading, they might look at like a politician and they might, if he's very pro-Ukrainian or if he's a threat to Putin's ideologies, they're told to not necessarily silence them. Well, that's something they have done before, obviously, but also tamper with their campaigns to make them look bad, which is something you have to, of course, worry about nowadays if you want to run for president. You want to run for local politician areas, and you're very outspoken on the Ukraine solution there. You got to kind of keep it in the back doors. The key for what I believe for most politicians, if you want to make it nowadays, is to have a neutral stance. When it comes to war, and a lot of people say, well, you can't just always have a neutral stance. No, you can't. But, not letting the Russians know what exactly it is you're doing. I mean, the Russians, they're not smart. People say, oh, they're smart. They're not smart people. I'm sorry to break it to you, but Russians, they don't score exactly on top list of smart people. The Russian spies, they know what they're doing, but they're not exactly clever people. They'll jump on the opportunity to do something. You just got to give them some kind of opportunity and keep them busy for a while. That sort of outplays them. But, I mean, they create, obviously, they try and hack social media. So they create armies of bots on Twitter, for example, or social networks. Fake websites which could, phishing you into clicking on a website that could hack your phone or your computer. They're talking to people who work in factories. If Putin wants to give somebody an extra little perk to be able to still continue to import stuff from European factories, then these leaders, or not these leaders, but these CEOs who all of a sudden will be earning $1 million extra a month because they they're exporting to Russia, you know, because business is booming when you think about it. Business is booming. You know, sort of because Russia has their own money to buy it, so the buyers of Russia, so the buyer of Europe or the sellers wants to sell to Russia, not of moral reasons, but you know, because of economic reasons, because Ukraine is not buying, they're lending money from the state, then buying, but they're not buying so much as Russia. Therefore, Russia makes more money for them. But it's ridiculous. I mean, it's a ridiculous notion, right? I mean, you shouldn't do it in the first place because you're European. You have sanctions. The sanctions are there. You start dealing with Russia nowadays with the sanctions still in place, you can go serious jail time. You know. Zelensky on the killing of Navalny. Zelensky's not. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Zelensky's not holding back here. Listen to what he says. He's like he's going off here.
Putin kills whoever he wants, be it an opposition leader or anyone else who seems at the target exactly to him. After the murder of Alexei Navalny,
that's how you say it. Navalny.
Absurd to perceive
Alexei
Putin
Navalny
as a supposedly legitimate head of a Russian state. And he is the thug who maintains power through corruption and violence, coming to his so-called inauguration, shaking his hand, considering him an equal means to disdain the very nature of political power. Putin kills
whoever, right? I mean, that's the quote of the year right there. Putin kills whoever. You'd imagine it not, but they do. Anyways, listen, here's what we're going to do. So just catch you up on the news happening here today. If you guys are just coming in now here, I'm here and on another channel. Oh, 11B. Okay. Well, yeah, that's important there for you. We got about 5 minutes here of a quick recap here from Flash News. These are news from around Europe and the world, mainly about targeting Ukrainian side of the news here, and as well, you know, like things regarding Ukraine, stuff like that. You know, things that affect Ukraine. You know. So actually, there's been some things here in Poland lately. Not sure what exactly who these people are, or if they're even farmers or not. But they've said some disturbing things here. So let's gonna watch it. Just quickly want to talk about this actually here. This right here, I believe to have been Ukrainian grain moving out from Ukraine that was then halted and actually, you know, they turned the wheels there. I believe that's the wheel that they turned it out on, ruining it pretty much. I mean, the ground, you probably could, you know, you probably take the top in there, and obviously there's the effect of when it starts going out and it reaches a certain level, you can't go out anymore. But I mean, that's what they did here, and a lot of the Ukrainian grain, which they have so little of, and this is what they're protesting against. If you're asking me what they're protesting against, I've answered this before, and I'll say it again if you want. They're pretty much protesting against the prices that they're now competing against, because if Ukraine, who, by the way, I just want to point something out, Ukraine had a bigger potato yield than India. Okay, put that into your mind. Ukraine, at the time of when they had a bigger yield of potatoes than India, had about 40 million people in their country, many of who were not farmers. In India, they have about 1.4 billion people, 1.2 billion something, and they had less potato yield than Ukraine. Ukraine has this massive agricultural market because its country is so well supplied with water supplies. I mean, it's a very agricultural country that's able to produce a lot of things and a lot of crops. You know, everything pretty much grows. 86, welcome in. There's a lot of chances of things growing in that country there. So, and obviously the country is huge. So it had a big yield there that day. So it's quite an astonishing thing there. And the grain alone, you know, Ukraine was a massive exporter of grain. So the prices, you can obviously imagine that when you're a farmer and all of a sudden you have this massive competitor who's now in a war, who's not exporting grain anymore, and then you're in Europe, and Europe are notoriously bad at taking care of their farmers. I mean, we all know that, you know, Europe is notoriously bad for taking care of their farmers. Puts all kinds of sanctions and bills and payments on them, and it's hard to be a farmer in the first place. You know, all that's. I mean, it's not the hardest of there's farmers issues. I mean, but if you were to be in China, not China, but you know, sort of Asian countries like that, the way that they've adopted their farming systems is basically you also eat what you sow, and you sort of have pretty much no limits towards it. I mean, there are limits towards it because much of it is handmade, and much of what is in Europe is you know, from tractors and automatic. But yeah, but listen, that's not the point. Obviously, what they're tired of is the prices, and now Ukraine comes back. It starts you know, posting this grain. It's gonna meddle with their prices, and their price is gonna start dropping again, and they don't want that. So what they're protesting against is having fair prices. It's a ridiculous thing to do, and am I 100% sure that there are Russian informants and Russian propagandists within these farmers who have routed these farmers into doing this? Yeah, but a lot of them are. A lot of them are. Obviously, you know. A lot of them are concerned about the prices, because the prices will eventually, if Ukraine were to win and Ukraine were to gain their ground back and were to rebuild, those prices, because now all of a sudden Ukraine would be in Europe, so they would also receive the subsidies and the prices would be lower. So, you know, grain would pretty much be so low, which is a good thing for customers to be able to buy, and it would cost nothing. But for farmers, you know, it's sort of doesn't really benefit them as much. But that's really what's happening here, and that's really why they're blockading. They've been doing it for quite a while now, all the way back to 2023. So to explain the situation here, it's all about prices and their sort of rights, worker rights. But yeah, that's sort of what's happening here. And they did this today. This is Ukrainian grain dumped underground by Polish protesters here. But we'll keep going on now. But that's funny, right? Ukraine lose, Poland lose. It's funny how many of the truckers there apparently seem to think that they're on the Ukrainians. I don't know if that's counter protesting right there, but Ukraine lose, Poland lose, right? That's a good message? I don't know. All right, it's because it's Ukrainian truckers, so that makes sense. So I thought that was Polish truckers. These guys right here coming along here against these guys who are probably Polish. A lot of these truckers here appear to be Ukrainian truckers, and that's why they're what Ukrainian truckers going back and forth right now, because they're getting stuck in you know, these checkpoints here. They're trying to say fuck off. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to re-propagandize their thing. I just want to say that we're receiving news that the POWs captured in Andivika and later in Rubitani, the areas that the Russians are attacking, they're attacking in 5 areas. I'm receiving news here that says that a lot of the POWs that has been captured throughout the last 2 days here, or a few days this week here, are being executed en masse. We're actually talking in the thousands here, the thousands of captures here. We've got confirmation there and videos actually of it. I can't show the videos there, but yeah, they're saying that there has been executions of Ukrainian POWs, so not Russian POWs. Russian POWs are being treated with the respect that they can't be treated with, but the Ukrainian POWs are being shot on sight. Part of the Russian campaign, obviously. Stupid campaign, but there you have it. I got that in here.
Maidan protests where people were shot because they wrapped themselves into a European flag.
The future of Ukraine is in the European Union. Slava Ukraini!
So there you go, right? You couldn't see much of it, but that was basically what that video you saw right there is basically the scaled down version of some of the videos that are out there. What the Russians are doing is basically when they capture these Ukrainian POWs, or basically capture them, they're telling them to just walk. So what they're doing is they tell them to not run or anything like that. They just tell them to walk forward, and then there'll be a shot. They'll just shoot them. Because if they're moving, that they can say they were moving away from me, you know. But there's also been videos, which I'm not sharing and which we shouldn't be sharing, of much more brutal executions, unlike what we saw here. But I just want to point out that, no, I'm not going to get demonetized or anything from YouTube. These are news, okay? These are what's happening. I'm not lying here to you. These are things that's happening. This is war. But this is Russian war. You know, this is the Russian war. This is the Russian way. This is how they've always done it. They execute it. You know, they just kill off people. You know, because the less there is, the less chance there is of them winning. You know, they're killing Ukrainian soldiers on drove. And you sometimes wonder to yourself, you say, oh my God, why can't twice harder was it harden your stomach again if you watch. Yeah, it's yeah. But yeah, I mean the mental stress, obviously knowing. I mean, these Ukrainian soldiers that are going to war. I mean, could you imagine? You know, you go online and all of a sudden, Johnny, welcome in, and all of a sudden I'm seeing like you know, go online, and all of a sudden you're seeing your cousin being executed on a Twitter video. You know, so there's a very low morale. I won't lie to you guys. The morale, the general morale of the Ukrainian army, I can imagine has taken a dive lately due to these, not only these videos, but the assumption and the notion that they will be executed if they are captured, which is it is a new tactic of the Russians, but it's also something we've seen before, obviously further back in time. Actually, if you go back further back than World War One, you go back towards the 1800s. There's been wars of Russia trying to take over the Ukrainian territory and Ukrainian people, the Slavic people. They've actually, you know, shot them. They've mass murdered Ukrainians. They never wanted to be part of Russia, but there's been sort of a submission process where they would go on a rampage and kill, the suppressors or the uprisers to try and suppress them. That was the Tsar, who was the sole leaders of Russia during a time of the Russian Empire. The Tsar was in charge there, and they were worse than what Putin is. I mean, Putin has basically created the Tsar all over again, but they were the monarchy of Russia. That was basically the Tsar, and they were authoritarian to the max, So, well, let's keep watching here.
Это воронка. Ну, размер воронки вот.
In case there's any intellectuals among you, yes, that was there was a flag that looked suspiciously much like the Norwegian flag, and I believe it was the Norwegian flag, but I believe they're training I don't know if they're training the Ukrainian or showing off that video. There probably was just some kind of exercise in Norway, right? I mean, that might be the Swedish naval flag. Is it the Swedish naval flag? What's that like? Swedish, goddamn. Swedish naval flag. And I know it's not like that. Probably not. No, Swedish naval flag is... No, it's much like the own flag. Right, okay. There you go. I mean, Ukrainians basically resorted to the ideology of drones. I mean, there isn't much else they can do at this moment in time. I mean, what they can do and what they have left is swindling. I mean, the reason why I'm saying this is because I want to push the pressure on those Western politicians. You know, you have to put the pressure on them to get that fucking stuff to Ukraine here. Now, I will say one thing, and I will say things that appear to say the Ukrainians are still very much in this fight. You know, people keep saying, "Oh, they're not." Ukrainians are not lonely. They're just a little bit defeated at this point. They are not anywhere near a loss. They have taken a step back, but that does not equal loss. That takes a step back equals we have to rethink our strategy. But they have destroyed, and I want to point this out here, I believe they destroyed a total of about, what's that, like 6, I think it's like close to 7 airplanes, right, in the last maybe, I don't know, week or so. You know, in the last week, the Ukrainians have destroyed what I believe to be equal to about 7 airplanes, which is Russian fighter jets, which is a staggering number of plane to be shut down. Of course, including that, we got 3 cruise missiles, 1 anti-aircraft warfare system, and 6 special equipment, 40 artillery systems, 61 UAVs. Apparently, the Russians conducted a massive UAV attack yesterday that appears to have been plotted. 2 MRS, 5 tanks, which again, usually when the Russians don't have a lot of tank numbers, it usually means they're gonna go for some kind of push, or they just don't have a lot of them left. That's usually how it goes. 38 vehicles and fuel tanks and 36 APVs. Alongside that, 1,230 troops, which is staggering number. The Russian personnel loss, I believe, have increased lately due to the massive onslaught of trying to push forward. Chances of how long they can keep this up, I don't know. I believe they can keep it up, and believe that they've calculated to be able to keep it up, but it certainly doesn't seem like it's a viable tactic forever, does it? Is that Air Force One right there? That might be Air Force One. Yeah, that appears to be Air Force One. I'm gonna check on Flight Trader if it's got it, so I can confirm if that's actually Air Force One. I had a bunch of Doomsday planes up earlier. There were a lot of Doomsday planes up over America earlier. Doomsday planes of the E-4B Big Birds, and they were up earlier as well. We appear to have some of them still up, maybe. I don't know. I'm not seeing the Air Force One on the Flight Trader one. It's not tracking it. This could potentially be the Air Force One. The reason why I'm saying that is because you have to take a look at the airport it took off from, and it took off from none other than Andrews, and Andrews is where the Air Force One is located. So I have reason to believe it is the Air Force One. Yeah, I have reason to believe that is Air Force One. But there appear to be some E6 in the air. That's something there. It's got some river joints up. That's not an issue there. But there were some Doomsday planes that might still be in the air somewhere. But they were up earlier here. Now we got Doomsday. We got Air Force One up here. So keep tracking Air Force One. Appears to be heading towards California. Probably some kind of talk with the man. Furthermore, the Swedish announced military package, which you saw in the video there, worth about $683 million. The package includes 10 amphibious assault boats of the Stridsboat 90 class, 20 amphibious assault boats, artillery ammunition, and anti-tank missile tow. I will say one thing, right? This right here is impressive. The 10 amphibious assault boats of the Stridsboat, I guess is how you say it. Stridsboat. As I would say it in Swedish, or Danish, like kind of like not difference, but that's literally you don't have right there. It's called It's called O. It's a little different, but yeah, there's a boat, and then I got no idea where it's flying to. So yeah, 20 amphibious assault boats, artillery ammunition, anti-tank missiles, which is pretty good all along here. So thank you to Sweden for continuing to support up on it. Is that the York cam we got going here? That appears to be the York cam. York cam is camera capturing. Maybe it's not actually. I had an York cam eventually sometime, but I don't know if I got that up anymore. U.S. officials have stated that they are now almost 100% sure. Now, I want to point something out here. the U.S. military or the military saying they are 100% sure is very fucking rare. Because usually the numbers only go to 75. You know, they're never 100% sure, but now they're saying they're almost 100% sure that the MQ-9 Reaper surveillance drone, which crashed into the Red Sea yesterday off the coast of western Yemen, was shot down. We actually had the video of some guy standing on the ground going Allah, 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 which was appeared to be the Houthi man saying that. But yeah, I didn't have the video there. I gotta find it if I find it. I don't know. But the Houthi air defense batteries, but that the incident is still under investigation. They appear to say that the Houthis appear to have shut down a MQ-9 Reaper, which is not the, it's an impressive feat, I say, for a bunch of hillbillies and with ancient equipment. I say that right there is pretty good. We have a
members of the Helsinki Commission and all the defenders.
Oh my God, he did an English one? Oh my God. He actually did. Okay, so Zelensky
whose rights.
So Zelensky did a 5-minute English version. He never does it in English. He only does it in Ukrainian. This is kind of a special here, guys. Let's watch it.
Dear Chairman Wilson, dear members of the Helsinki Commission, and all the defenders of justice. First of all, I want to thank the Commission and everyone supporting its work for organizing this crucial hearing. This event is significant not only for the Commission's efforts, nor is it solely about our shared goal of holding all Russian war criminals accountable. Your work also serves as a vital signal to people worldwide. Today, the hearings take place in the same room where, after World War II, justice helped lay the foundations for a new and lasting protection of life and human rights. In courtroom 600, the site of the groundbreaking Nuremberg trials of Nazi officials, American Supreme Court Justice Robert H. Jackson delivered his famous opening statement. And it's terrible news that even after so many years and lessons, humanity must revisit the Nuremberg principles to punish a new large-scale Russian evil following Hitler's footsteps. But on the bright side, it's good news that there are still those ready to return to these principles and administer justice. Our unity works for the good of our nations and all the people in the world. First, human rights fall, then wars arise. This is a fact, and it should become a universal truth that a real, honest, and reliable end to the war cannot happen without fully restoring justice for all those whose rights and lives have been shattered by the war. No war can be truly ended without bringing to justice those thugs responsible for sparking this war, killing and torturing, deporting children and adults, and who attempt to brutally extinguish the flames of freedom and resistance in occupied territories. There is no crime against humanity and life that Putin's Russia and those serving its insane dictator have not committed. The world has seen Ukrainian cities and villages burned to the ground by the Russian army. Everyone has at least heard about the mass killings that inevitably followed the Russian flag across occupied territories. It is impossible to reconcile with the pain of families torn apart by Putin's war, and the deportation of Ukrainian children. We know the names of nearly 20,000 children who have been deported. And this is likely just a part of the larger number. Potentially hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian children could have been deported. Children whom Russia refuses to return to their families and homeland, children who are now being taught to hate liberty. And we must also not forget about millions of Ukrainians surviving under the Russian occupation, deprived of even the most basic human rights. Ladies and gentlemen, let there be no obstacles on the path to justice. Just as Nazism was condemned, Putin's state must face the same fate. He places himself alongside Hitler, justifying his actions in the Second World War. He's trying to plunge the entire free world into the same suffering he has brought to Ukraine and our people. Various nations have united to help stop Russia's aggression. And I thank every nation, every leader, and all political figures worldwide who are helping to protect Ukraine. You are truly on the right side of history. At the same time, I urge everyone who can hasten the arrival of a real peace, a peace that will free all Ukrainians from Russian domination across our entire land. A peace that, like after World War II, will be based on condemning the war criminals and their ideology. A peace that will ensure a happy and safe life for generations to come. We can bring such a peace together in unity and with all the support needed. And of course, I want to thank each and everyone in the United States who cherish freedom just as Ukrainians do, and Mr. President Biden and the administration and everybody in the US Congress who helps, and to all our partners worldwide. Thank you for your determination. When determination arises and justice prevails, the aggressor falls and evil gets punished. Action makes a difference. Slava Ukraini!
What a statement there, and what a speech. Thank you so much, Zelensky, for
Dear
that
Chairman.
great speak there. That was actually pretty good. I was just saying, there is no injustice that is unjustified. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. I got nothing else for you at this current moment in time. I've showed you everything I've gotten here on news-wise. Got my shells. The Pentagon assures that its ability to quickly ensure the new aid package are sent to Ukraine as soon as the U.S. Congress passes the relevant bill. This was stated on Tuesday by Deputy Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh. As soon as the Congress provides us with the authorities afforestation, right? Okay. I think we'll be able to deliver PDA to Ukraine fairly quickly, she said. PDA stands for Package Allocated by Presidential Decree. Right, there you go. All right. 8-year-old chess prodigy breaks record after defeating 37-year-old Grandmaster. Jesus Christ. That kid is going to grow up to be a goddamn prodigy. He's already a prodigy, but now he's more of a prodigy already.
I'm figuring this out now. Where the wheels don't move, they lock on the grocery cart escalator. Look, Ma, no hands.
It's like, does Tucker think this is like a normal thing? Like Tucker, who apparently he's so disregarded from like reality, he thinks that a shopping cart actually like getting stuck to the bottom of the treadmill is what, weird? This is not. This is like a average European thing.
Where the wheels don't move, they lock on the grocery cart escalator. Look, Ma, no hands.
This is not a Russian thing.
Okay, Forrest. An escalator for the grocery cart, and the doors open automatically. Oh, Mother Russia.
Russia is famous for its bread, which is one thing I can assess pretty well. Look at that. It's fresh, too. Look at that. Oh, come on.
Like, does Europe not have fresh bread? I imagine it's fresher than fucking Russia. Do you like this guy?
This guy really likes bread. I hate to think what would have happened if he had found a bagel.
Oh, yeah. The thing about Tucker is that he doesn't understand what the rest of Russia looks like. The rural areas of Russia is the most terrible things you'll ever see in your life. There are few good cities in Russia. Most of those are the cities that the Western people visit. St. Petersburg. Kaliningrad has been made good because there's a lot of Western countries around it, so they want to make Kaliningrad a good country, so Western countries can look in at Kaliningrad and go, oh my god, Moscow, which is the capital of Russia, has been made really good. And then, of course, there's the chances of fewer cities with outside of Moscow and outside of St. Petersburg. You know, all the European side is really has some kind of infrastructure, but you don't have to go very far out of Moscow to see some really terrible infrastructure, terrible living ways. I mean, you know, there's a bridges in Russia, for example, so people can get past rivers and stuff like that. That hasn't been repaired. And, you know, there's Russians who continue to complain about their apartments freezing because the warm heaters can continue to blow up because their pipes are getting old and not being replaced. There's bridges, so as mentioned before, that's been broken and not being replaced or not helped, and they're not sending any money for those bridges to be rebuilt. They're just letting the Russians, you know, like crawl across. The old ladies have to crawl across like this broken bridge that's leaning on its side, which is like a dangerous thing there. And it's just, you know, there's nothing really impressive about Russia. There's only something impressive, and that's, you know, that's really just the start of it, which is Moscow and the cities in front of that, and the city near the Black Sea, and all the areas where the Western countries can look into and go, oh my God, look at that, you know. I also want to point something else out here. What we need to it found the little girl's body in Texas. Oh, they found the little girl's body in Texas. Well, goddamn. Oh, that's just terrible. You said she was 11 years old. That's just ridiculous. Are they saying homicide, or are they saying accident, or are they saying kidnapping, or what are we talking about here? I mean, homicide, right? It could be homicide. That's serious right there. Kidnapping alongside homicide. I mean, on an 11-year-old as well. Holy shit. I mean, that's, you know, how fucking sick in the head do you have to be to think, oh my God, yeah, that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. Yeah. So it's ridiculous, you know. There are threat of use of ballistic weapons from the east here, right here, where there's been threats of ballistic weapons use here in 4 regions. Well, obviously not in these regions, probably not. Well, could be on these sides right here. Probably in these regions here. What kind of ballistic weapons, I don't know, but this is reported 3 minutes ago here from Flash News, so pretty legitimate source here. Flash News has just reported this about 3 minutes ago, so we're not reporting that late there. The Polish president commented on the blockade of Ukrainian border, saying that if Russia aggression against Ukraine that was to blame, not anyone else. At the same time, Andrzej Duda noted that Poles have the right to protest, and it is legal. And if it is legal, the government will protect it. And blocking the border is only the decision of farmers, not the Polish government. He assured the Polish authorities are looking for ways to resolve the conflict. You're not looking fast enough, buddy. Gotta keep going. Get going, man. Come on. Let a disgusting child watcher. Oh my god. Earlier today, I reported a Twitter account that apparently liked to share rape videos. We reported that, and there were a lot of other people who reported it, and we actually got it banned, and we actually had it IP banned, so the person who owns the phone or who owns that account, so that IP can't make any more accounts. So that's a win for Twitter, or sorry, not only Twitter but humanity there as well. It's such a ridiculous thing to think that it's, you know, like one of the most ridiculous things I've always, because Danish people, I mean, we're just so fucked up. Some of these Danish people who have like this ridiculous humor of thinking of watching like videos of people dying is like a funny thing. And some people, they show me, you know, every baddie sing a song, do that dude. What? But yeah, no. I mean, it's just, you know, they show these videos here, and it's just ridiculous videos you don't want to see, but they laugh at it too. It's like, it's such a ridiculous notion. They laugh at it, you know. It's just like, what are you laughing at? You know, it's like, oh yeah, this guy's got his head cut off. Oh my god, how funny, you know, like why is that funny? You know, what's wrong with you? I mean, what's mentally wrong with you? You know? Gamer, not necessarily that I'm saying you're making fun of it, but you know, it might not be a situation to make a joke when something like that happens, you know. He's a Nazi with tattoos all his bodies. Oh, really? Yeah. I tell you, people, Danish people are notorious for having such bad humor. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's like, and it's not bad humor, but it's like dark humor. You know, it's like really, it's dark humor. That's what Danish people have. It's like a ridiculous thing. Anyways, I'm not getting any more news here at the moment. Just not really getting anything for right now. Out of these two countries, which one do you prefer? I prefer North Korea, they say. Imagine having such a massive bias and also having such a hatred towards Israel that you vote North Korea. You'd rather live in North Korea than live in Israel. Imagine having, I mean, wow. North Korea should declare war on Israel. that'd be a fun time. Wouldn't really change much, would it? I mean, they probably don't have a lot of trade between each other, do they? I would imagine so. So they have massive trade between each other, Israel and North Korea. That's the big that they're big traders. Probably not. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh my god. Incredible landscape in the fields of Inner Mongolia, China. Any of you ever seen Mongolia? I mean, it's like they call it the Black Heart of Asia, which is like ridiculous notion because it's actually a beautiful country. It's just because people are jealous. I reckon it's just because people are jealous of it. They have so much space. There's like 5 million people living in an area bigger than Western Europe. And look at it, you know, Mongolia right there. Like, it's, put it up next to Europe. It's almost bigger than Europe. I believe it's actually bigger in Europe in some areas, at least most of Europe. It's like, it's huge, you know, and there's like a few cities. One of the cities in Mongolia, and you go out here, right? Like, one of the cities in Mongolia is called Moron. Believe it or not, there are cities in Mongolia that is called Moron. It's spelled Moron. It's an actual place inside of. There's like there's a lot of towns here. I feel like there's a lot more than there actually is. But the Mongolian population is like, what, 5 million? Mongolia population. No, it's not even 5 million. Goddamn. It's actually not even 5 million. It's 3.3 million. It's not even 5 million. It is, no, look at that. The size of Western Europe, a country the size of Western Europe has a population of 3.3 million people. I mean, that is just, it's so much less than, you know, look at the countries compared next to it. You know, you have countries like Bangladesh or Bhutan, where it's like a population of 600 million or something like that. Like, and I think Bangladesh has like I don't know how many people lives in Bangladesh. How many Bangladesh? Yeah, 169 million people live in Bangladesh, and it's about 1 million times smaller than Mongolia, which is like, it's mind-boggling, right? It really is mind-boggling. Moron. Look at that. Moron. It's spelled like that. It's a Murun or Murun, but it's spelled like that. Like moron. It's like, it's ridiculous. I tell you what, if you ever want to do something, go on a road trip in Mongolia. That'd be awesome. I just wanted to see that one day. Some people are saying that Nikki Haley were to drop her presidential campaign. I'm here to say Nikki Haley is still in the presidential campaign and is promised to continue to run her presidential campaign until the very bitter end of realization, or either a realization or just a pure time of imagination. But whatever, right? Yeah, I don't really have anything right now in terms of news right now. I'm just you know, walking around here in the maps and checking things out, as I always do. Got any questions or anything like that, you feel free to ask. I probably can't answer them all, but I'll try. Curious that Air Force One has landed somewhere in the Nevada or California area there. We got a P-8 right there. P3, E6. We got a lot of E6 action up today, actually. We got one there, so one there, and we had another one over here as well before. We got some P8 action right now here instead. A lot of PE action there. Look at that. There was actually an E6. Now E6 are the nuke sniffers, or the nuke sniffer. They carry nukes, basically. They can carry nukes, as far as understanding goes of those guys. They were built doing the I don't know how long ago they were built. I think they were built quite long ago, in like the 70s or 80s or something like that. They were built because the Soviet Union were a hit in nuclear production, so the Americans decided that if Russia ever was to launch a nuclear attack, and if the United States wasn't able to retaliate, they would have 24/7 planes flying in the air which is like an impossible feat, but it's basically what they did. I mean, they would land these missions of these people. I mean, they would fly for like 12, maybe 18 hours. I don't know how long it was, but they would fly for hours, hours and hours and hours on end. These people who was in that mission, they would sit in that cockpit for like hours and hours and hours and continue to just fly. It was incredible. And they were up there in case the Soviet Union decided to attack. Their job was to fly towards the Soviet Union with their nuclear payload to just deliver some kind of response, which would be inevitable, right? People in northern Gaza trying to get their hands on humanitarian aid transport today. But apparently there are humanitarian aid still coming in here. I mean, it's incredible, right? And the density, right, lately on the northern Gaza here. I mean, I can't tell you what I'm trying to tell you here is, yes, I am. I've always been into believing that people are able to defend themselves, but I'm not very much on the Israeli side. I don't know if I've been for quite a while now. I'm not on the Israeli side. I do feel much more for the people of this country here and the people of the northern Gaza. Many of these who are children have nothing to do with it. I mean, I'm not sure you could say all these people they did that and that and that, but a lot of these people they have nothing to do with it. I'm never gonna say that I like, like, oh yeah, okay, I wanna say I like Hamas. No. I mean, Hamas terrorist group, but they're pretty much done. This is just about not thinking about the conditions these people live in. It's quite horrible. But yeah. These conditions right here at the current moment is like crazy, and you can see that right there. That's just one truck, and 2 trucks back there. They're on it, trying to distribute the food there, but it just isn't enough. It appears. And looking at it, it doesn't appear like there's enough, but there probably is. I mean, they probably bring a lot, right? I don't know what the fuck they're, I mean, they keep rocking in and out right there, right? So it's like, yeah. I mean, look at the amount of people that are actually there. It's incredible. I believe there's about the entire population of Gaza appears to be in this area here. Well, not particularly right there, but they appear to be in this small, very small vicinity. There appears to be the population of Gaza. U.S. European parts found in North Korean missiles in Ukraine. Oh, relax. It's probably just because Russia supplied them to it. Relax. It's like they smuggled things, they stole it or something like that. That's it. There you have it. I mean, I have no idea how many are in this area here alone, but I'll look it up here in a second here because I will show you like the current map of Gaza here at the moment, in between where and where they're not, I don't know if I haven't heard any stories of starvation. Yeah, look at that. I mean, look at that right there, right? And that's along the beach side there. I haven't heard any stories of starvation, but I could imagine that there may be starvation. Don't know though. I mean, it might be. They might be able to actually contribute or distribute the food and stuff like that they have at an equal level. I don't know if they've been able to do that. I mean, we're talking about millions of people here. We're actually talking about above 1 million people, I'd imagine, which is here. So we're talking a lot more than just a few trucks. We're talking about a lot of trucks with a lot of different things in it. Supplies, rice, very likely to be part of it. But the diet is certainly not going to be very, 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 very variable, is what I'm trying to point out. Yeah, see that appears to just be a big bag of rice, which I imagine is what they're being given. Yeah, rice, eating pure rice is like a death wish if you want to. That's, you know, eating pure white rice is like death wish. I mean, you had constant constipation and all that kind of stuff. It wouldn't be very great for you to eat constantly just eating rice. I mean, that's what I'm worried here is that if there is simply, if that's their diet, there certainly is some issue there. Because constantly eating rice is it's pretty much an early death wish. That really is. Man, I couldn't imagine what else would be in there, right? What else would be in there? Yeah. Plain rice. I don't know if that's what they're eating there. Let's go on Ukraine. No. It was a UA Live. There we go. So, there you have it. Let me just get to Israel and Palestine here. So, the war appears to have dialed down a bit here. They've actually pulled back from many of the areas here, many of the areas they were in. I don't know if they're still fighting much of it, but as far as we understand, Israel is in control of most of it. They appear to be mainly focused here. This does appear to be the city that they're mainly focused in. This is near the Rafah border. The reason why I'm telling you that is because you have to think about, like, they're getting across the Rafah border. This is where they're getting across. They're walking along the beachfront here. It appears that they were probably walking across here, and this is probably where some of the only towns or town area here that appears to be left full of or ability to live there, right? So millions of people living in these areas here. It's smaller than some people's backyards, you know. It's like, you know, you're not as nice as me. Well, fair enough. Everybody has their opinions, obviously, about what is up here, but I will point it out and say to you guys that this constant idea of war. I mean, I've never understood war as a concept in the first place, but you know, it certainly seems to me that there just isn't, you know, need for wars. There's always some ridiculous stuff. Need for war. It's just ridiculous, right? Here's actually Yemen. So these are the three different factions. It does appear these are three different factions and three different people fighting inside Yemen here. Quite the people. Quite the endeavor there. Anyways. I'm done for tonight. I'm done. I have no more to report to you. There just isn't any, like, if I'm going to be honest with you, there just isn't anything else to say. I mean, there isn't any more news. So, thank you so much for stopping by and being here today. I think we'll end the stream with an amazing man here. Everybody knows, on violin. Check it out. These guys never seem to surprise me. They just know what the fuck they're doing. That was just impressive right there. Holy shit, thank you for that. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for being here. I will see you guys on the other side. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get some more streaming going if necessary. Obviously there hasn't been any interesting news coming out. I mean, to be honest with you, what I'm saying about interesting news is like headlines, right? Like developments or stuff like that. Like in terms of like things happening, I mean, yesterday we had the shoot down of a drone and blah blah blah, but like big time news or big time developments. Things are kind of going a little slow right now. Not necessarily slow. I mean, there's obviously the development of the factor that Ukraine is having a hard time here. That's certainly the main news, but we've covered that. Other than that, there isn't really a lot going on at the moment here. So as far as we understand, there isn't anything else to, at the moment, worry about. Of course, what you really have you do guys have to keep an eye on this area right here, because I don't know how many of you were here when I said this, but Azerbaijan has been noted to be preparing for a full-scale war with Armenia. I will repeat this again. Azerbaijan has been noted by trustable sources to be preparing for a possible full-scale war with Armenia. The Caucasus could be owned by Azerbaijan. They have proven themselves in Karabakh, but they are appearing now to have found their luck. So this is what we're worrying about, obviously, here still. So there could be a war there. There's a war here. There's a war here. There doesn't appear to be coming a war here anymore, but there could still be some tension brewing there. That's still in war. That's just all war right there. There could be a war right here. I mean, Texas might just declare themselves their own nation very soon. No, I'm kidding. Don't worry. They won't. So yeah, a lot of wars here, and of course here as well. Tension area. So the whole world's on fire right now. Anyways, have a good day, guys. Have a good day. Thank you so much for being here. I just got a notification here on oh shit, one second. I just got a notification on my phone here of a possible development on the battlefield. Possible development on the Ukrainian battlefield could have just taken place here. Just going to check if there was an update actually just now. Appear to have been received some kind of intel on that. Let me just check this out real quick. Oh yeah, I just got an update here from Deep State. What appears to have been, where are we looking? Down here it appears. No, it shouldn't. Okay, there's a push there to take that village there. Other than that, there was a small pushes down here. Nothing. This wasn't really a push. I'd say troop movement really.